Hey everybody, we are live. Welcome to the 25 Marketing Mastermind. We hope that everybody is doing well. As you can see, I am too cool for school. My future's so bright, I need sunshades, just like Katie pointed out to me a few minutes ago. That is such a cool line. Hopefully you guys can actually see I have 4 monitors in the background there. The reflection is quite cool, so I like that. But part of the reason I'm wearing these shades is because my eyes are burning. I put my contact lens in. I got a new contact lens, and now I got to get used to it. And because I wear my contacts all the time, I kind of forget to take them out. So I should be taking this thing out, and because I leave it on too long, it sits there and it burns for a long period of time. So I was talking to Katie about 5 hours ago, and she was trying to point out stuff on her screen, and I couldn't see squat because I was just a blind bat. So if I took my glasses off like this, my eyes closed crazy. So I'm doing this so everybody can see me. So I hope everybody is well and adjusted. We got a great hangout for you today. We're going to be touching on a subject which is, I've never shared this information with anybody before. So I'm going to be doing this today, and we're going to be talking about a subject which I believe will be very relevant to you if you are thinking about starting a business online, or perhaps if you are trying to get business online, but there's too much going on. And I want to give you guys a little bit of encouragement today. But before we get into that, let's go through our panel so we can introduce everybody here. We have the one, the only Katie Stage, who was so bright you can probably see her if she was up on a star. So Katie, what's going on with you? How are things going? I believe you're still in front of that little painting there with a broken tree. How's it going?
Yes, there's your little broken tree right here. I'm going to have to bring this with me when I hit the road again. But I am still here. I was needed in the house today while the parents were out and about. So I watched my nieces and we did some painting. And my sister wants to update the kitchen and was looking at, just about last week, she was looking at different colors for the kitchen and stuff like that. So today, when I was playing with some paints and stuff with the kids, the littlest one, Lily, decided that she wanted to help paint and started painting on the wall a little bit. So, it was an okay color. It was a mixture of reds and yellows and turned into brown, and then it looked like poop, but, it's all right. It was paint. We already knew that. So, yeah, I got to hang out with the girls today and then did some marketing and networking today online. So it's been a really good, profitable Monday, and for me, as far as like marketing and reaching out and getting a hold of people. So, but yeah, other than that, it's been good. Back to you in the studio.
Just grabbing the studio. Okay, cool. So then we have, let's see, I don't know if we should go age before beauty or whatever the case is here, but I'll mix it up here a bit. Oh man, let's go over to Pops. Pops. How are things going with you?
Excellent. I really do see your dilemma in trying to choose that. We're both older and we certainly are beauties. Yeah. Jamie, he's so bashful about it, he's not even responding to that. He's just kind of hanging down and going, I'm so pretty. Oh, so pretty. That's a song from somewhere. I can't remember. Katie will probably remember. Like, I don't know. I can't remember.
I don't know. I'm trying to.
Yeah, it's a musical. Back.
Oh no! You know what it was? It comes from an old. I think it's a Jewish movie, but it's
Fiddler on the Roof.
Fiddler on the Roof. That's right. Yeah.
I was just going to say that. I was waiting for you guys to figure that out. My mom always wanted to come wish after we watched that movie. Wait, no, it was Seven Brides for Seven Brothers, where Mom wanted to name one of us Dorcas.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, everything's awesome up here. I still in the North Country and waiting for Katie's release from her binding agreement, and that'll happen whenever. It doesn't matter. It is nice up here. As I'm going to talk about later, I'm staying at a motel free I did some work for the owner last year, and and I can't decide whether her reality took over my reality because we did come here, but last year I did some work, just volunteer work that I just kind of just did, and she said, "Boy, I wish you were sticking around because I got plenty of work that I could have you do." Well, lo and behold, we're back here a year later, and I'm telling you, I think she saved it all for me. It's crazy. I like doing that kind of work, working with my hands and doing stuff, but yeah, it's all right. Taking a little bit of time from business, but actually I don't want to spend all day doing business anyway. That's like working too hard. So anyway, yep, all's well. Thanks.
Awesome, awesome. And let's see, last but not least, we have the guy, the one and only. I promise you, if it weren't for the fact that he were in IT, he'd probably be in a band with the name Jamie Shaw, because I can just imagine announcing it all the time. Mr. Jamie Shaw, give us a drum roll, please. Jamie, how are things going with you, buddy?
That'd be hard because I can't play a musical instrument at all. So, yeah, I said West Side Story. Bob Nevin was right. He said we were all wrong, West Side Story. But it also,
West
I
Side
Feel
Story,
Pretty.
yep.
I'm talking about I Feel Pretty. It was also in Anger Management with
yes, that's
Jack
right.
Nicholson and
Yep, that's true.
Adam Sandler. Yeah.
Robert De Niro.
So, I just had to look it up as soon as you said that because I knew I'd heard it just recently. And I probably seen it the other night when my daughter was watching TV. But I've had a pretty wild week. Actually, I kind of took some time off. I had a little Mr. ceremony Monday night. That's why I wasn't there last Monday night, because my grandson was in the Little Miss and Mr. pageant at the fair, and it was pretty cool. He was so scared he wouldn't even say anything on stage. He's told his mom before he went on stage, "Mom, I'm freaking out." And he's only 4 years old, so it was hilarious. And then I took the rest of the week off on vacation because of the 4th of July and worked on my house. So I got my house almost painted, and yesterday I decided, and I took this time because I have a marketing business. I still have a full-time job, but my marketing business, keeps my computer business going by advertising and stuff like that, and brings computer work into me. So I can afford to take that time. But yesterday I got the bright idea. Let's work on the shower, because my shower's been dripping and driving me insane. So I decided to fix the shower. I thought I could just sweat the pipes, pull them apart, slap the new valve in there, and we're good to go. Yeah, no. Let's fix the shower. It's a good idea. No, I had to rip the whole wall out, rip off the shower surround, all that good stuff. I'm in the basement in the crawl space, upside down, trying to put pipe and stuff in there. It was crazy, but I got it done. So this week's back to marketing, because I started off the morning listening to graduation speech from Denzel Washington, which was pretty awesome. And then on the way home, I listened to Tony Robbins, How to Find Your Purpose. And that was some pretty good stuff there. And I got to listen to that again because there's some golden nuggets in there. So that's my crazy week.
Awesome, Jamie. And can you hear me? Yeah. Okay. So, I've also, I forgot to mention, I'm going to go and see my niece. My niece was in hospital because she is allergic, or when she was born, she's just been allergic to just about everything. And she found out for the very first time this weekend that she is no longer allergic to dairy, or dairy like, milk and that sort of thing, which is amazing. So she had chocolate for the first time in her life at 10 years old. And of course, Katie's like, whoa. So, and she had yogurt, or if you're in the UK, yogurt, don't know why you call it that, but she had that for the first time, and mac and cheese. And the cheese was kind of too strong for her, but it was an amazing experience for her. And I got her this little, I thought it was a little sheep, but I was corrected. It was a little llama. And I decided to name the llama, or the sheep at the time. And so I named the little sheep that I thought, I named it Dimitri. Now, if anybody here has seen the show Perfect Strangers with Barkeeper Tokamus and his little sheep, he named it Dimitri. And I thought I'd give this this little llama the name Dimitri, because otherwise what's going to happen is she's probably going to name it Lammy, because or Lammy, because she had a little lamb and she calls it Lammy. And I gave her an elephant a while back, and she called it Eddie. And I didn't want this one be called Lami, so I gave her the name Dimitri. And now she has a little llama called Dimitri, and she's really cool with that. But man, she went through a hell of a time trying to get that sorted out and determining. She's still allergic to egg, though, which is quite bad. But they figure she's going to grow out of that. So I had a very interesting weekend. Got to see my niece there, which we had a good time. If you go to my Facebook wall, you can see that as well. But, you know, getting to the subject of today, what we want to talk about, you know, a lot of people, when they contact me and I give them instructions on what they need to do to start an online business, I will constantly get this feedback from people. All right, they will constantly say things like, Dave, you know, I really don't have the time, or I really don't have I've got so many things happening on in my life, I really couldn't do this if I wanted to. And I want to tell you a little bit of what my life was like beforehand when I started out in this online business deal. Most of you know that I've been a youth worker for the better part of 25 years of my life, being a volunteer youth worker. But a lot of you don't really know what that entailed for me. And for me, it meant that every Friday night between 7 and 9, sometimes 10 o'clock, I would have to run a youth group. I would get together on a Friday night. But I'd also have to run 2 Bible studies consecutively on a Monday and a Wednesday, and also do teen church on a Sunday morning at 8 a.m. in the morning. So that was my scheduled routine. And really, as a volunteer youth worker, I kind of did this full time. And it got to the point where I was working full time from 7 o'clock in the morning till 5 o'clock in the evening doing youth work. I also had a friend of mine, or have a friend of mine, who has spastic cerebral palsy. So I spent a bit of time helping him out as well. And so when I first got started in this online business, I had so much going on in my life that you could not believe it. I owed my entire life to what I was doing at church. And honestly, the only day I really had off was a Saturday, but I spent that Saturday prepping for the Sunday morning teaching that I don't have to do. So I was a really busy person. And as a lot of you know, one of the things that I did to earn extra money, because for a while there I was working for free at the church, was I would have to go and look for work where I could actually do physical jobs and get paid for it. And that was something I also had to do. So me being in the position where I was working every single day from about 7 o'clock in the morning, sometimes 8, to about 4 or 5 o'clock in the evening. And getting back and starting my online business, or getting involved with my online business, only really ever started at about 9 o'clock in the evening or 10 o'clock in the evening. And I work until maybe 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning on my business, despite the fact that I had so much going on. And so I had very little sleep. I worked really hard at what I did. And I got to the position where I am because I worked on my business every single day. And this is what's interesting to me when somebody says to me, Dave, I really don't have time to do this. I'm telling you right now that if you have a lot going on in your life, even if you are, because I have a buddy of mine who's a parent, he has 2 kids, he's a mechanic, and his wife works full-time, and he wants to start trading in the stock market. He wants to start doing the trading business. And what does he do? Every morning before he goes to work, he goes on an hour webinar so he can learn what he needs to do to start trading. And he is doing this by himself with a full family, with everything going on in his life, and he finds time to do it. And I know that there are parents out there who have kids that when they are so busy doing something, and they feel like nothing could distract them, when something important happens in their life, they make time to make that happen. You know, we think we are so busy, but then we suddenly get a toothache and our tooth is giving us tremendous problems, and we have to find time to go and get that tooth sorted out. Or perhaps your kid's been involved in something at school and is in trouble, and you need to go and sort that out. You make time despite the fact that there may be consequences. And the whole idea is that it's all about prioritizing what we have around us. You know, and I can tell you that every single person on this panel, before they started in the online business industry, were very busy people. And that is a fact. All right. I can tell you right now, you know, Pops is a handyman and he does a lot of stuff in his spare time. He was very busy. I know that Jamie has a family he's got to take care of, and he is very busy. And the same with Katie. With all of the jobs that she's had to do, she's a very busy person. And I can just imagine how busy she must have been with everybody around her asking her to do stuff, because she loves helping people. That's just who she is as a person. But honestly, if you want to start running a business online, if you want to actually do it, you can make time. Time is relative, in my opinion. It is completely relative, in my opinion. And I just wanted to ask, perhaps maybe if Pops has got something to add along these lines of being very busy and also running an online business. What's it like for him?
Yeah, I was actually working 2 part-time jobs. I was doing the funeral escort. I had a 20-year job with a motorcycle escort, which involved traffic control for funeral processions. So I was doing that, and I was also working on construction stuff and redoing, painting, and fixing, oddly enough, funeral homes, because they were, you know, transitioned into working for them because they needed work, and I recognized it, and I thought, heck, I can make more money doing that. So a buddy of mine and I got together and started doing that, and I was doing online stuff in the evening. And sometimes our work took us into the evening, or I would have to break away from a job in order to do a funeral and come back and finish a job and then come home and work on my business. And it seems like it's been that way forever. I'm still doing, where I'm at now in Babbitt, I'm living on the property of a motel, which I did some work for her last year. And it seems like she saved all the work she needed done for this year till I got back. And not that she was sure I got back anyway. I'm kind of under the gun to get 2 rooms ready for people that are coming in later on in the month. And so I didn't expect to have to put in this much work when I got here. However, I was committed to do it. And I'm still doing my business as well. Excuse me. So I'm working 5 hours, 6 hours a day sometimes in the motel. And then I got to work on this. And that is also from my meditations. I do meditations in the morning. I did an 1.5-hour meditation this morning, 2 different ones. And of course, we have our wake up time, our toiletries and eating and exercise, you know, workouts. So all that adds in. You still have to make time for business. But actually, it kind of just boils down to where my priorities are. And my priorities are on business. So I will postpone some of the work I need to do in the motel, even occasionally, if I have to get online with somebody and do some coaching or whatever I have to do. I make time. I make time for it, because that's my future. I'm looking at my future, and that's the only thing that's going to sustain me in my future, other than what limited income I have as a retiree with Social Security and my retirement. That is not going to feed my desires, my goals, and what I want, my dreams. My business will. So just make time, period.
Yeah, I love that. We have actually we've got a rock star in our group, and his name is Ricky Burrows. And Ricky is a guy who he's an electrician. He got started in an online business almost, I think, just over a year ago. And he contacted me. He wanted to get started. I got him started with everything he needed to do. But Ricky is a busy guy. This guy works a full-time job, and he is one of our most devoted. He is constantly working because he wants to fund his own business. But he's the guy I would rather work with. What's interesting to me is that if there is somebody who isn't busy, I would rather not work with somebody who isn't busy and work with somebody. I would rather work with a very busy person, because somebody who isn't busy, somebody who has just got so much time on their hands, honestly, there isn't any priority. Even people that are unemployed there are still some people who are unemployed that are very busy by themselves. They just want to do something all the time. And that is the type of person that I want to work with. I don't want to work with somebody who's lazy, who doesn't really have any idea of what time of day it is, and who's just drinking their whole day because they've got nothing else to do. I want to work with somebody who's got time to work with. And for me, I only spent a few hours a day working on my business. That's how I got started. And this is the only reason that I am financially independent today, because of that very reason. All right. It wasn't because I had nothing to do. I was a very busy cat. I worked my backside off, making sure that I could actually learn everything I needed to learn. So that's an interesting point. Does anybody here else on the panel want to say something or contribute?
Oh, I couldn't find the mute button, unmute button. Yeah, I just wanted to admit that it does get a little bit hard. I wanted to feed off of what Pops was saying about finding the time to put your priorities straight. And it's going to be, I have to admit, it's going to be a lifelong discipline to pick and choose what you have to do in order to get the work done, because it's easy not to, because you're in the situation now, for those of you who are, you have nothing to go back to. Maybe you're doing this full time and you're just putting everything on the line, and maybe you do have a full-time job, and obviously you have to do that because you don't want to get fired, but you want to make take the action that needs to be taken to, whether that is to replace your online business to get rid of that job, or like I said, you're in the situation where you have nothing else and you have to put everything in prioritize everything, and you feel like you're moving everywhere in all these different places, and you're getting all these sorts of wonderful tips, but it still feels like, okay, you're getting all these wonderful tips, but you still don't know how to put it in pieces and put the puzzles pieces together and get yourself some action steps. So, I mean, I still feel like that once in a while when, I have, when you get overwhelmed like that, you have that decision like, okay, I'm just going to get up and go make some coffee and just, delay the process of putting the pieces together, right? Or you're going to go and organize the bookshelf or something because, you want to delay that process a little bit to try to figure this out. But, I've been there, done that. Sometimes it still happens. But what's really what I'm really blessed with is to have the community that we have here, that I can reach out to, say, Dave or Jamie or Pops and ask them some questions to help them get me on track. And with that, we actually, within this group, we do have a 24-hour chat on Facebook where anybody can ask a question. Anybody. If there's no such thing as a stupid question, like where do I find that button to publish a blog post? And we can do screenshots. I'm like, it's right there. I'm like, oh, it's the big blue button. I didn't realize that, and then that's okay because we've all been there. We stuff is, it's being human where stuff is like not in front of your face and you don't even know it. And you're like, oh gosh, I can't believe that. And it's all a learning process. It doesn't matter. but I think it's the point where, you know, you have that choice of, like, it's easy not to. You get distracted. You decide to do something else because it's easier to do that other thing than it is to put in the work, to put, you know, the work that it needs to happen to make the business grow. Because it does take daily thought process to come up with, you know, content. Like Dave, I think, Dave, you and I are like pretty close to the same, where every single day, probably 24/7, we're thinking and putting everything in a business filter in our minds and trying to come up with some kind of content to just so we can share with people and try to make it better, or try to make it more sense, right? For people to understand and have that breakthrough, to explain it in a different way. And that's just what it is. So I don't know. It's just, I wanted to admit that sometimes it still happens where I, you know, just got to take a break and I just go somewhere else and just kind of delay the process a little bit. But then it does help, but don't stay away, you know, just have that break, take a mind off of something, and then just ask, you know, the universe, or, you know, whatever you want to call it, to get inspiration into your move forward. Or you can ask the group, you can ask us. So that's what we're here for. Does that make sense? I just wanted to, Dad, you just kind of reminded me of that. So that it still happens to anybody.
Absolutely. And what's interesting is that when you start developing some success, and because you kind of get used to it when you start making some money over a period of time, you kind of get used to it, and you kind of pull back and you slack for a little bit, and you're like, oh gee, you know, maybe I can take it easy for a while. But actually it's the same thing. You just got to keep hustling. I mean, Katie said this to me today, Dave, I got to get going because I got to start hustling. I got to start working on my business. And this is what we do. And we've been in the industry for a while. This is what it takes. It's going to take you, it's going to be a part of your life forever. And I'm so glad that I've done this, because there have been aspects of my life that have completely changed who I am as an individual. I am not the same person I was 5 years ago. I am not the same person who comes up with the same excuses that I'm thinking about, because I understand that it is my business. It's my responsibility. Nobody else is to blame but myself, except me. And this is what it's about. It's about you thinking correctly about what business is about. You cannot blame anybody else but yourself for not getting anywhere. And I know it's a hard thing to hear, because everybody's situation is different. Oh, you don't know my situation. My situation is completely different to yours. And yes, it is. And what's interesting about it is that even when I was struggling and I was telling all of my friends about what I was involved in, I got mocked. I got laughed at. I got ridiculed. I got told that what I'm doing was a waste of time and that I should get a real job. But then when everything started working out for me, and it finally happened when I walked into, it was so awesome, that moment. Oh man, I'll never forget it. When I walked into my boss's office and I told him, I'm out. I quit. I literally said that. I said, I'm leaving and you are next. It was such an amazing time. But that's what I said. I said, I'm out and you are next, because I could see that things weren't going. And it's such a freeing experience to be able to do that. But even in that moment when because Joe's watching here now, Joe McKenzie, and Joe was talking to me over that period of time when my job was not secure and I was kind of in the midst, and I had to make a decision about whether I was going to stay or leave. He knew what I was going through, and I just had to double down and work on my business even harder. But here's the interesting thing: when I finally made it, when I got on that plane and I went to Vegas and I met Pops and Katie and Pat Patterson and everybody else there, when I finally made it and got back and kind of wanted to show everybody what I had done, the answer I got back from people was, "Oh, you know, you just got lucky. You know, you just fell into the right place at the right time." And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Are you serious?" you're going to tell me that I was lucky? I wasn't lucky. I just worked really hard on my business every single day. I never took breaks. I just worked really, really hard. And just like Gary Player says, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And we were talking about this today. My buddy and I were talking about, I think it was one of these soccer players. I play soccer. Yes, I watch it occasionally. And he kicked the ball behind him. He didn't even look where he kicked the ball. The ball came towards him, and he did kind of like a backflip thing, and he kicked the ball back into the goal. He didn't even see it. And he was saying, how on earth did he do that? It's because he's practiced that over and over and over and over again. That's how he gets good at what he does, to the point where he doesn't even have to see where he's kicking. All right, that's how good you become. It's just by practicing what you need to learn. Sorry, Jamie, you haven't said anything. I just wanted to know if you wanted to add to this conversation about, your busy life and everything.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you touched on some good stuff, good points. Katie talked on some money points, And the first thing you need to do when you get started, doing this stuff is set some goals, some realistic goals, not just goals about anything. Set some daily goals. I want to accomplish a video a day or a blog a day, or a weekly goal, a monthly goal, a yearly goal. Then you want to set some long-term goals, and long-term goals may be to get out of debt, and assign a date to it. And it doesn't matter if you meet the, your short-term goals. It doesn't matter if you meet the date or not. You're setting the goal, writing it down, trying to meet it. If you meet it, great. But if you don't meet it, don't beat yourself up about it, because a lot of people beat themselves up because they don't meet their goals. And I took some notes here, and see, here I am on a hangout taking notes from what Katie's saying, taking notes from what David's saying, coming up with what I want to say, because there's all good gold bars in there, and I want some of them gold bars. So don't sweat it if you don't make the goal. Rome wasn't built in a day. It's going to happen. Keep persistent, keep consistent. When it comes to money, don't make your goals about money. Don't, I want to make $5,000 a week or $5,000 a day. It's not going to happen right away. Set realistic goals. I want to help 2 people today. I want to help 2 people tomorrow. I want to help 2 people, by Friday. Next week, I want to help 5 people. Make it about somebody else and not you. And when it comes to money, you don't see a hearse pulling a U-Haul. Why? Because you can't take the money with you. All the money is to meet your daily needs and stuff like that. Pay your bills, pay your car payments, get out of debt. That's what money's for. And if you fail, I just come up with this quote. So this is going to be a good quote. Katie can put it on Facebook, whatever. I just come up with that other quote too. But your failures are just the puzzle pieces you need to experience to put the puzzle together. And that's all you got to do, is figure out how to put the puzzle together. Then you'll start having success after success after success. I see it every day. That's what I got to say, Dave.
I love it. It reminds me about that speech the guy gave about how to fail at just about everything and still succeed. It really is about that. It's like each little puzzle piece fits together. Every little thing that you fail at is a little skill that you're learning so that you can put everything together in a bigger picture. And, this brings me to, and I'm not sure we're going to have enough time to run through all of these points, but I wanted to cover the 1 of 5 here, and that is our thoughts and idea on time, on how we view time in our own lives. Do we have enough time to do what it is we want to do, or is it relative? And I believe it's relative. If you in your mind believe that there is no way that you can actually fit in running your own online business, you've decided in your mind that it's never going to happen. But I promise you this, time is completely relative, and you can make time for just about anything. It's, yes, there might be things that you need to give up, but I promise you this, that if you had to schedule everything in your life on a table throughout the week, and then add it all up in a month, and you were to go 30 minutes by 30 minute by 30 minute by 30 minute throughout that entire week, I promise you that you will be surprised at how much time you actually do have. All right, it's amazing. This is an exercise they teach in high-level coaching, where they'll tell you to write down everything you do every 30 minutes of the day. Just do it as an exercise and see how much time you have when you're working, when you are sleeping, when you are going on your lunch break, when you're hanging out with your friends, when you binge watching a series that you found, or when you whatever you're doing. I know what my weaknesses were. I know what they are. They may not be yours as well. You may have completely different weaknesses than mine. But one of my weaknesses was binge watching every single series I could watch. It was one of my little weaknesses that I had to work on. So I just went on a complete media diet for myself. I decided to cut that out of my life, and you'll be surprised at how much time I had. Time is completely relative. It is. And I'm sure Pops would understand this more than anybody else here, that time is what you make it. Am I right, Pops?
That's exactly right, Dave. Time is all what you make it. You can compress time by focusing on what you want to do to get whatever it needs to be done for that particular time frame. Focus on that instead of dusting or straightening up your table or desk or checking emails just because, or actually turn off Facebook, because if you get a notification for Facebook, it's going to distract you. Eliminate distractions, and the time that you put in producing in your business will probably triple, actually, and maybe even more, because of distractions that we allow ourselves. And I say ourselves, I'm not pointing fingers at anyone, that we allow ourselves to deviate from getting the stuff done that we need to get done, because it's actually easy to lose sight of what you're striving for, because life is what it is. You get distracted because friends come over, family call, whatever. It's easy to get distracted. What they say gets in the way. Well, no, celebrate life, but also celebrate the time that you have been allowed to work on your business, and concentrate and departmentalize each one of those things. And when you're being with family, concentrate on family. And then tell family, if you have them in the household or whatever, that you have to have this time to work on business. It's their future as well as yours. And if they're not in the household, turn off the phone, turn off Facebook, turn off all that other stuff that's going to distract you, and just pay attention. And you'll be amazed at how much you'll get done, and there won't be time concerned. You won't be wasting time, and time is all we have. Really, time is the most important thing we have. It's not money. It's not even relationships, because loving yourself is the first thing to loving other people. You have to understand yourself in order to understand other people. And time is all we have. So use it wisely instead of flittering it away on Facebook, unless you're working it, or unless you're connecting with prospects, or unless you're actually connecting with family as well. There is that. Set it all aside and compartmentalize it so you can just be more focused. That's what it boils down to, too, is focus.
I wanted to add a little bit of a trick here that I did but this is before internet. This is before the internet world. I want to lay this on you because I found this very helpful when I was a teenager. We used to have things called libraries where you go out and take books and read them because of your projects that you wanted to do. One of the things that I used to do is I used to allocate time where I would go to the library, because if you go to the library, you kind of in a situation where you've got to work, because you've created an environment around you where it forces you in a position where you have to work. You can't just sit around lazing around doing nothing. But if you're in the library working, that's something I used to do. So one of the things I used to do when I was out doing things, I'd take my laptop and I'd go to a cafe that had internet, and I would sit there and do some work that I needed to do, because I let my I let my environment influence what I was doing instead of the other way around. And it's a good habit to follow if you would like to better yourselves, is to actually do that. So everything you're doing, you're making your environment conducive to what it is you want to do. So that's an interesting tip that I used to do. The second point I want to bring out is our thoughts and our ideas on money and what money is used for in our own lives. And there are two main things I want to touch on. And the first one is instant gratification. Instant gratification is a default setting that every single person on the planet has to actually making themselves feel good about something. We want to have instant gratification. I don't know of a single person who doesn't want to have that. But when you start getting into business and becoming an entrepreneur, you understand that there are certain things that you need to change. And that is from going from instant gratification to delayed gratification, where you are working towards a goal. I mean, what is it that you're actually spending your money on? You know, have you actually sat down and budgeted what it is you need to do? There are certain things, and I did this a few months ago, when I discovered I was spending way too much money on certain things in my life that I needed to cut out. And I've cut them out of my life completely. And as a result, I've managed to have more money in my bank account because I realized that, you know what, I need to start working towards my future. And I cannot be always trying to get that instant buzz of whatever I'm doing. I've got to control myself, and self-control is the biggest thing that everybody here needs to work on. Even if you're not in business, self-control, if you can master self-control, you will have a better life for it. I promise you, because too much of a good thing can be bad for you. Wouldn't you agree? It's nice to go into the mountains, but if you go into the mountains and you stay there forever, there are certain things that it's not going to be helpful for you. All right. It's nice to go into a break, but if your break is indefinite, what good is that? All right. It's good to go out and go for a cycle and a ride or a walk, as Katie and Pops does on a regular basis. But if they did that all the time, they get nothing else done. I mean, it's good, but you need to have some form of self-control. So I would really work on budgeting what it is that you spend on now. What is it that you're actually spending your money on so that you can get that instant gratification? Work it out. I don't know what yours may be. I know what mine was, and I had to cut those things out. And then to switch over to the fact that, you know what, I need to start taking my money and investing it in my own business. That's what all of us do here. Every single one of us on this panel, and a lot of the people watching, because they're part of our team, have actually taken money and invested inside of our own business. And that takes a discipline. And before I started to see success in my own online business, what I used to do was to try and figure out what was the freest, what was the cheapest, what was the best way that I could avoid paying anything to run my own business online. What I didn't realize by actually doing that, what I was saying is, how can I rob society? How can I rob society by not giving them anything and still make some money on the side? And that, in my view, is a scam. That, in my view, is a scam. Trying to rob the community of something that they need so that you can make some extra money on the side. Rather change that to, how can I produce the most value to other people so that I can make some money on the side? And if you make that switch in your head, your process for getting where you want to go will become a lot easier. Does anybody here want to add to that, perhaps?
Yeah, I was thinking when you were talking, I was thinking of a strategy that came to my mind that changed everything for me. Was me deciding to, when I was going through all the videos and going through all the training and learning all this stuff, I was absorbing that and it was piling up in my brain, but I wasn't, I was doing a little bit of marketing and getting myself out there, but I wasn't like sharing, I felt that I invested into this training, I felt that being that I paid for it, I felt like that was like something I couldn't share, but didn't want to share because I thought like it was a secret that I wasn't able to share or something like that. I don't know what was actually going in my mind, but the point is that what changed for me was to take all that stuff that I had in my that I absorbed and turn it around and put it out there in the marketplace. Because after I started doing that, people stopped seeing me as someone who was lost, and they started seeing someone who wanted to share value, and I was growing, right? I'm giving them my insight. I was not just sharing like a motivational quote picture anymore, or I wasn't sharing just jokes or something or memes or anything like that. But I was starting to speak. I found my voice and I started to speak. And I think that's what changed for me, because then people started taking me seriously, more seriously, and looked at me as a thought leader in the industry as far as, you know, telling people, giving them tips, or, hey, I got some free training, and building up my training library and putting myself out there in the marketplace and sharing these tips. And I think that's what really changed for me. So that, just to give somebody a little hint, is that anything that you've learned in the past, however long you've been in this industry, is to turn it around and share that, and it'll change. Everything will change, I think.
Yeah, it really is a simple process. I don't know why this concept is so difficult for people to grasp. The whole idea is that you get into a system where you want to learn more about what it is you love, and then what you do is you go online and you share what you know with other people so that they can be more informed, so that you can provide more value for other people. That's essentially what we do when we are running an online business. We are essentially providing value to the community. And when we find something really good that's helped us, or perhaps we found a product that's really spoken aloud to us, we go and share it with the world. And because we provided value on a consistent basis, that's where people want to follow you. That's when people want to learn more about what it is you have to share. And I can guarantee you that if for instance, Pops and myself, and also Jamie, we love, I suppose we love working with our hands, right? It's something that we love doing. But I can guarantee you that if I went to go and spend a day with Pops, and he was giving me all this, because I'm sure there are tons of stuff he could teach me about handyman work and stuff, because I used to do that as well. But if Pops were to recommend a tool that I should buy, there's no question in my mind that I would go and buy it, because it would be handy. And I know that his word is good because he's given me so much free value. I would absolutely go ahead and get that, because I know that what he is sharing with me is truthful. And that's just the nature of the way people are. That's how you win people over, is by sharing so much good information with people. And then when you finally have something to sell, they don't just look at you as this big car salesman anymore. They look at you as somebody who really wants to help them. And I'm sure that a lot of people here have experienced the same thing who are watching this. You know what I'm talking about. It's not something you need to hide from. Now, we've got 3 more other points to cover, and I'm not going to cover them here right now. I think we'll leave that for next week. I want to end this hangout a little bit shorter today, because I got some stuff I need to take care of. But I want... does anybody here want to add to what we've spoken about, or perhaps somebody in the comments wants to say something? I see Robert's written something.
Yeah, I just wanted to. Oh, go ahead, Jamie.
I just wanted to add just a little bit, Katie. Last week I said I took vacation from Wednesday to I went back to work today. And even though all I did was work on my house, and we had a lot of family time, had a lot of family over, had a lot of quality family time, I was in my element. That's what I love doing. I love, even though I was painting the house, which is boring I enjoyed myself because I was doing something for me, for my family, and then spending time with my family. You know, you don't realize how much time you miss out on your family when they're not around you all the time. And just getting to spend that time, you know, because you only have so much time in the day. So once it's gone, it's gone. You can't go back and get any more of it. You know, so spending that quality time with family, you know, seeing my one grandson's sixth birthday and my other grandson in the Little Mister pageant, you know, it was all time that I could have missed out, you know, and I really seen the focus from last week that how much time I miss out on because I have to go to a job every day. And that it just made me realize what my real passion is, that I need to do more stuff with my hands and spend more quality time with my family. So.
Yeah, multitasking is really not something that's real. However, when I'm working on stuff, I'll have these on, and they're Bluetooth capable, or I used to have one that was not, and I'd carry my phone with me, and I'm listening to Audible, and sometimes I'll listen to music because not all life has got to be about work, but most of the time it's an Audible, and I'm learning stuff. I'm learning about my craft. I'm learning about what other people say about it and what they're teaching and what I can learn and reteach. And so that's like multitasking. And sometimes I lose track of what's being said because I have to do something intricate and my mind wanders. So I'll rewind it and I'll start again and listen to some more. And sometimes I have had to do that. For whatever reason, I've had to do it a couple of times where I'd come to that point where I was going to get to what I missed and I'd get distracted again. It's almost like my mind didn't want me to hear that. I'm going, what? So I got to rewind it again, and that's fine because I still hear good stuff. I don't understand that, but you know, we are our own worst enemies, and maybe I was being kept by myself somewhere inside not to hear that because it was pretty good. And so, but I'm multitasking as best as I can, but we can't do justice on that. So.
Absolutely, I love that. So I just wanted to love you all and leave you with this thought, right? I've got one last thing that I want to share with you. If you're not in any sort of business online, if you're watching this and you really don't have an idea on what to do, I'm going to give you this little bit of a tip. And what I would suggest is to find something that you love doing. Find something that really gets your blood going. Something that when you wake up in the morning, you could talk about it for hours. If money wasn't an issue and you were getting paid thousands and thousands of dollars per second and you could talk about something you absolutely love to do, I want you to take that information and to start your very own YouTube channel. Start your very own YouTube channel. Get it going, work it out, and start sharing your passion with the world. I don't care what it is, whether it's history, whether it's politics, whether it's science, whether it's you love fixing cars, whether you love fixing PCs, whether you love I want you to go ahead and to share that information with the world. That's the one piece of information, because once you actually start sharing that information with the world, you will eventually get people that will find you on the internet and you will start developing followers. I promise you that is something you could start doing today without any cost to you. But if you really want to learn how you can utilize these tools like YouTube and Facebook and Snapchat and Periscope and blogging, if you really want to learn how to utilize all of those tools so you can take everything else to another level where you can actually start reaching thousands of people online and getting customers to find you, I want to suggest that you get started with what we love to dub as an online marketing university, where you can learn how to do all of that stuff. And it's very easy. All you have to do is to click on the button below this video so you can get started now. Go for a $10 trial. And you can see all of the information that every one of us has. All right. And inside of this system, and this system has been responsible for some of the biggest multi-million earners in this industry today. All right, this company's been around for 10 years, so it's rock solid, stable. You don't need to worry about whether it's going away tomorrow. It's been around for a long time. Go ahead and get started. Once you get started, contact one of us. All right, contact one of us or anybody else who referred you to this particular page, and then say, I really want to get inside of this workshop. What do I need to do? And we will give you that information where you can get inside of a workshop, where you can be part of a 24-hour chat, where you can interact with people all around the world. And then you can also be a part of our workshop on a Saturday at 10 a.m. Eastern time, where we can actually help and guide you and give you information, where we can actually see you on a Zoom call and interact with you. And that's an amazing thing to be a part of, where we can show you what it is you need to do. So I'm going to leave you with that. I also want to just quickly tell you that we have a number of hangouts throughout the week. Tomorrow we have Maria at 4 p.m. Eastern, and then we have Katie and Pops at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tomorrow. And at 8 p.m. Eastern, we have Ricky Burrows, the guy that I was talking about. And then on Wednesday, we have Wisdom Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Straight after that, we have My Lead System Pro Hangout, which we all watch, and that's at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And then, of course, on Thursday, we've got Jamie Shaw with his Thriving Thursday at 8 p.m. Eastern. And then if you want to be a part of our workshop on Saturday, get started right now, and we'll show you how you can actually get inside of that group. You have an amazing day. We will see you same time next week. You have a great day, and we will continue this journey from there on. Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.